Ladies, my fellow mommies, we are always so busy, on the go, kids screaming in the back seat, sleeping babies. I have the ultimate hack for you.
Welcome to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast with Krista and Tracy, your go-to girls for health, fitness, and keeping it real in mom life.
If you can't seem to get in a good groove with your nutrition and exercise program, this is for you.
We've coached thousands of women using macros for over 8 years, and I'm well known around here for my 5-day meal prep videos.
What does a macro balanced meal look like?
Hit subscribe to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast and join us for a fun, meaningful journey toward a healthier, happier you.
You got this, Mom.
All right, welcome to season 2 of the Stay Fit Mom podcast. This is just such a special treat because today I get to interview one of our very own clients, Brittney Fishback. And Brittney, I just want you to know that I asked all the coaches at the Stay Fit Mom retreat, I would love to be able to interview clients for the podcast. Anybody have anybody in mind? And I couldn't even finish the sentence, Brittney. And Emily was like, you have to interview Brittney. She is incredible.
So sweet. It really is awesome.
So needless to say, Coach Emily works with Brittney. And this is such a treat for me because sometimes working in the online space, it doesn't feel quite real or tangible. And so I am so excited to get to know you more, Brittney, and hear your story. And I know that you're going to impact a lot of women.
Thanks.
Podcast season 2 is all about fresh starts, new beginnings, and joy in the journey. We're embracing change and finding joy in every step of the way, no matter how messy it gets. New habits, new spaces, new hope. So welcome to the show, Brittney. First, let's just start with who are you and tell us a little bit about how you came to know Stay Fit Mom and all that.
I'm Brittney, and I am a stay-at-home mom to 3 kiddos. I've got boy-girl twins who will be 5 in July, which is wild, and a almost 3-year-old little boy. And my macro counting journey really started prior to having kids. I actually started with Clean Simple Eats, which is another program. I know you guys have an affiliate and use them in a lot of your recipes. So I kind of started there. And I do have a lot of love in my heart for Clean Simple Eats, but I was kind of looking for something that was more conducive to the life that I was living. The way that they do their macros is more for serving bowls, and you split it equally and you weigh it. And that just was really hard for me. I would feed my kids and they would eat half a bowl. So then I'd have half a bowl left and it just was tricky. And so Stay Fit Mom, I loved because everything was measured out in grams, which is really helpful when making recipes, because then I can just pull 250 grams of the casserole instead of dividing it into 8 portion sizes. And so that I kind of felt like was a little more my jam. I had my 3rd in 2022 and just had a really hard time losing the baby weight. I felt like it was easier with my twins. I felt like I was able to fit into my pre-pregnancy pants very quickly after. I don't know what it was. So I was having trouble losing the weight. I felt like I was macro counting and exercising, doing everything that I was supposed to do, but not losing the weight. And so I went to a doctor to get my hormones tested. And of course, they all came back normal. And when I had mentioned to that doctor that I had PCOS, they recommended semaglutide, and for more reasons than just weight loss. With PCOS, typically you have more insulin resistance. And so they were kind of like, oh, semaglutide can help with insulin resistance and you can just drop the weight. And anyway, my plan was I would do semaglutide until I lost the weight, but I would continue lifting and eating protein. But then after I was done losing the weight, then I would just get off and just continue macro counting. Anyway, I didn't lose a pound. In fact, I think I gained weight on semaglutide. And maybe, I know a lot of people are like, oh, sometimes it takes 6 months. I didn't want to wait 6 months. It's expensive and the side effects are not great. And I wasn't losing and I was really frustrated. And so I went off and then I went to my doctor and just super discouraging doctor's visit. My labs were not great. He was basically like, you have diabetes in my mind because you have PCOS. You need to go home and eat more greens and exercise more. And I was like, I am. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. And after that visit, I was like, okay, one-on-one coaching. I'm doing it. I've spent money on semaglutide. I've spent money here. Why not do one-on-one coaching and give it a chance? And so I signed up. September of last year was my 6-week introductory session with Emily. And right off the bat, I mean, she did have to work with my numbers a little bit, but I started seeing results immediately. And it was such a breath of fresh air to have somebody that was holding me accountable, have somebody who was looking at every aspect of my life, answering questions that, why am I not losing the weight? And really just being there and hearing my struggles and my frustrations, and then being able to kind of say, okay, well, let's try this. Or, hey, I've got family coming and I'm really struggling with this. And she would send me a blog post that was everything that I needed to hear. And it was just amazing. And I signed up again and just kept on losing. And I had the holidays where we did 2 trips to the same place within the span of a week, and a big trip in March. And she was able to give me advice. And I knew that I was going to have to input my numbers on the spreadsheet. And honestly, that helped me stay consistent, because I was like, man, Emily is going to look at this and she's going to be disappointed if I waver. And so I need to make better choices. And anyway, I was able to maintain the weight loss. I was able to build muscle, and it's just been awesome. I've really been happy with my progress and so grateful to Stay Fit Mom and to Emily for helping me in this journey. And I still have goals. I'm not quite where I want to be, but I definitely, from where I started and felt like it was just completely unattainable, I actually feel like for the first time in probably 10 years, I can actually get to where I was 10 years ago. And that is huge, because
That's awesome.
it's been a roller coaster for sure.
Okay, so I have to back you up because I have so many comments or questions or things that I want you to elaborate on. So, first of all, mom of twins, 5-year-old twins, that I bow down to all mom of twins. That's so exciting. And then you had a 3-year-old. So you have 3 children total. So you're busy. Yay for staying at home with them. I love that. You get to do that. So then you kind of just jumped right into your story. So let's start with, how much weight have you lost since September of 2024? And just for clarity, at the time of this recording, it's now May 8th, 2025. So it's been a few months, but how much have you lost in that time?
So when I started, I was at 235, and I weighed in this morning at 195.8.
Wow.
So almost 40 pounds.
Wonderland. And I love that you're willing to put it all out there, because there's so many women in your shoes. And I think that we talk about the scale a lot with all of our clients, and it's just a terrifying obstacle when they have to do that initial weigh-in. It's kind of like a gut punch. Oh,
Mhm.
and a lot of women might have things floating through their minds like, how did I get here? Or this is not where I expected myself to be. You kind of mentioned that, just floundering at a loss. Did you have any of that when you first started? You've got to take the pictures, you got to weigh in. And how did you get over that initial hump? Or did you just feel like, I am desperate and I'm willing to do anything and everything?
A little bit of that, yes. I also feel like have always been pretty open. I'm a pretty open person. Ask me anything and I'll tell you. I wear my life on my sleeve, because I feel like, why not? Because that's where you get support. I figure if I share and maybe overshare is perhaps what I do, but it gives somebody else the chance, or makes them feel comfortable enough to be able to open up. because we're all on a journey and I'm just not embarrassed. I did, of course, like the pictures. I'm glad that I took them because it's so fun seeing where I am now. But obviously, it's hard when you take them. That's not the most flattering picture, but also to see the progression, it's just really motivating. And there were weeks where I only lost like maybe zero point 0.3 or maintained, but the pictures showed so much more than what the scale was showing. And that's what I always had to remind myself, is that for me, this isn't a fad diet. Believe me, I've done the fads. I've done it all. And for me, this is a true lifestyle change. I will eat this way for the rest of my life. And I will have weeks or days that I get off or vacation or life happens. But as long as I can just hop right back on the next day, I'm going to, because I feel so much better when I am eating this way. It's definitely hard to see those pictures, but it's worth it to me to share, because if I can help somebody else, then that feels great. But then also I'm excited. I'm excited that I am at this point, because I was so heavy before and I felt it. It was hard for me to even walk up my stairs. I would send my kids up the stairs to get something for me because I was too tired, and it's the fact that I'm where I am today. I'm not embarrassed. If anything, I'm excited, especially because I have a hard time with measures like the BMI. I come from a family of big genes, and I feel like muscle isn't taken into consideration a lot with BMI. And I'm really happy where I'm at. Obviously, I still have room to improve to reach my goals, but if I can help somebody else, show the pictures and share the numbers, because it's worth it to me if I can help somebody else. So
I love that, Brittany. Well, we're so glad, because I know you're going to inspire so many women. And also, if you're listening, we're going to link in the show notes Brittany's client spotlight. She's the feature this month. We just have her post go live, and it is just so inspiring to see the pictures, especially when you're in the thick of it and you might have gained this last week, or you might have maintained, or you're barely seeing any movement. But just knowing every coin you're putting in that piggy bank by just doing the right things over and over, despite what the scale says, is yielding results over the long game. And you're a testament to that, Brittany. And then I had just a couple questions about your semaglutide, because it's all the rage. It's all the rage right now. Everyone, it seems like, in my eyes, when I'm scrolling, every influencer is trying to give me their code for their semaglutide. And so just tell me about how long you were on it and if you experienced these side effects. And also, did you just say, forget it because of the cost? Just dive a little bit more into that for me. I'm just curious.
yeah, so I had gone February or March of last year, and that's when they started me, and they work you up. So you start with the lowest dose, and then every couple of weeks they increase your dose until you're at the highest level, and then once you're there, you just stay there. I didn't have terrible side effects. I know there's horror stories out there because I did the research, believe me, before I had started, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to buy Metamucil, I need to increase my fiber. But I was fine. I mean, I've been eating high protein for a long time, because I know a lot of people, when they start eating high protein, can have digestive issues, and so maybe that helped. But yeah, I didn't have many side effects. For me, it was mostly cost related, and I felt like nothing was happening. I felt like I wasn't changing, and I felt like I was eating worse because I wasn't as hungry. And then when I was hungry, it was like, oh, just eat ice cream. It was just not great, not the greatest eating. I was only on it from March to end of June. And that's when I was like, I had to kind of taper off, because if you stop immediately, my thought was I wanted to start it and lose the weight and then get off of it. But a lot of the research that I had done was that a lot of people, they have to stay on it or else they gain it all back. And I've done diets like that before. I've done it all. I did MetaFast for a long time, which were these bars, and you would just eat keto. I've done where when you stop, you gain it all back and more. And I wasn't interested in that. And I knew that macro counting had worked in the past because I had lost all of my baby weight from my first pregnancy. I get that there's people who go on it because they need to or it works for them, and that's great. And so happy for them. For me, I felt like I was looking for an easy way out. And I actually read one of your posts, or maybe it was an email that you had sent where you talked about gaining weight after a pregnancy. It was like, it took me 9 months to gain this weight. It's going to take me 9 months to lose this weight. And I really liked that because I'm sitting here, I just wanted to lose it in like a month. I just wanted it to be gone. I wanted to lose the weight. Realistically, it has taken me 5 years since my kids to gain this weight. It's going to take me a while to lose it. And so I just needed patience. And I felt like I was kind of looking for a quick fix. And when it didn't come, I was like, okay, let's drop this because it's a lot of money. And let's put this money into something that I know is going to work. And that was macro counting for me.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That is so interesting. So you macro counted in the past, you were doing simple eats. I love how you said you just felt like the accountability piece was so huge for you in the one-on-one coaching. I loved how you said Emily was there with the education, she was there with the accountability. And do you feel like those two things really took you from dabbling, okay, to I'm committed. I am all the way in and this is working. I just find it interesting that so many people want to track their macros and they're doing okay, but then we hear this aha moment or something goes off as soon as they get paired up with a coach. So anything else you want to speak to that of?
Oh, 100%, especially because she did provide that knowledge that I felt like I was lacking because I did do clean, simple eats, but it honestly, I was talking to my husband after I started the one-on-one coaching and I was like, I don't know how somebody does this without, because I feel like I had a lot of knowledge about macro counting. I had done it before. I had to pull from all my reserves and I had to do a lot of research on like, okay, I have 10 grams of fat left. What can I fill in? I always see questions on the Facebook group of these are what I have left over. What can I eat? And it really is such a puzzle that you have to fill out. And I felt like I pulled from all arsenals. I was pulling from you guys. I was pulling from Clean Simple Eats. I was pulling from Lily Eats Macros. It just pulled everything and was able to make it work. I think you had posted a screenshot of categories of fat.
Single macro foods.
Yes, this is what you can eat if you need to fill your fat. This is what you need if you need fat and protein. This is what you need if you need carb and fat. And I used that a lot because it changed the way that I looked at food too. For me, looking at an egg, it's like, oh, that's protein and fat. That's easy. You just kind of learn what foods are and you can kind of fill in. But yeah, there was definitely a learning curve, even though I had a lot of knowledge. And I felt like Emily was helpful in that, especially too with vacations, especially because I had a couple of vacations where she was like, prioritize this or bring these quick snacks, or we can increase a little bit if you need it because you have a little bit of wiggle room. So it was very helpful to work with her and to pull from her knowledge, because I was very knowledgeable, but she took it next level.
That's so awesome. So specific. I like that too, that you were like, I'm going out to eat or I'm going on vacation. What now? I love that personalization for sure. Okay. So you've mentioned how this process has changed your relationship with food. Can you tell us how and how macro counting has kind of shifted your thinking from your past experiences?
Yeah. So that all or nothing mentality has totally shifted. I used to kind of have that mentality of, oh, I had a cookie, the rest of the day is ruined. Let's have 5 more cookies. But instead, if I want a cookie, I'll have a cookie. I'll just shift some things later in the day. And just because you mess up a little bit doesn't mean that that whole day is ruined and you can eat whatever you want. That one was really hard for me to break because, I mean, even still, I find myself getting into that where it's like, oh, well, I'm going out to eat, so I might as well just eat whatever I want. And it's like, no, high protein, prioritize protein and make it work. That's where I feel like my Fitness Pal has been very helpful too, because I've been able to find restaurants, first of all, but then if I can't, I can just search for something similar and track, and then I can kind of work around that. Even if it's not 100% accurate, at least I'm putting something in
For
there.
sure. That's such a good hack for people that are going out to eat. That's great. I love that.
The other relationship is this: in order to lose weight, you have to reduce your calorie intake. My home growing up, I love my parents, but there was definitely that binge or starve mentality. It's like, oh, I want to lose weight. And so I just won't eat. It's like, oh, I'll eat the chocolate cake today, but and tomorrow I just won't have breakfast. Kind of like I just will withhold or not eat, kind of punishing yourself for not staying on track, right? And that was a mentality I had to change, that you can eat delicious food and macro count. I look forward to my meals. I look forward to my nightly creamy. I eat so well, and that's where this is a lifestyle change for me, because it's good food. And that's where I had to kind of shift. Typically, I was like, oh, I have to eat between 1,500 and 1,800 calories. Right now, I'm at 2,100 calories and I'm losing weight. And I just have to laugh at like, oh yeah, I'm only eating 1,500 calories. It's like, girl, I feel like I'm eating too much food, but I'm still losing weight, you know?
Yeah. You lost 40 pounds and you're eating 2,100 calories. It does make you a little cringe when you see people trying to make this work with 1,200 calories or 1,000 calories.
It's just miserable. Like, I've been there. It is, to just be so hungry and be like, oh, what can I eat? And now I just feel like I eat like a queen. I love the meals that I'm making. I love the monthly macro meals. Every time those come out, I sit down and I write down the ones that I want to try. And that's what we're eating for the next month. You know, I love it. So
That's awesome. What about the rest of your family? Are they eating like you are? Are you cooking different meals for them? No judgment. I'm just curious how the rest of your family is
I
faring.
mean, I am very blessed that I live in a home where my husband eats what I make, because I know there's a lot of people they want what they want, or they want what they grew up with. My husband eats everything and loves everything that I put on the table. My kids love most things. I do find that I have to be a little bit more conscientious of when I feed, because for instance, I made the beef barbacoa for Cinco de Mayo, right? And it's really good, but man, that tablespoon of chipotle chili powder, it's a spicy meat.
Got them little. Yeah.
So I made them quesadillas, and me and my husband enjoyed the tacos. So I do feed my family, but if it's a spicier meal or something that I know that they're not going to like, I will try to make something still within the realm. It was still Mexican food, you know, but it would just still use the ingredients that I had purchased. It just wasn't exactly what we ate, because I knew it was too spicy for them. So, but my kids eat what I make. I'm not a short order chef. So, and they like it most of the time. I feel like once they try a bite, it's not a fight. So that's nice.
And I do feel like there's just something freeing when you learn to macro count and you know, okay, it's not like you have to eat these healthy foods to be a healthy person your whole life. This is the only, you have to like celery and broccoli. When you macro count, you realize, okay, we can just make these swaps. If my kids still need protein, but they don't like beef barbacoa, I can give them chicken or whatever it is that they will eat. And that just feels, as a parent, a little bit more freeing if you have picky eaters. I don't know if you can testify to that. And then as your kids get older, Brittney, they're just going to keep, believe me, we're at the point with our teen boys and they're eating us out of house and home. They won't be able to get enough of that beef barbacoa.
I believe it. I'm already feel like my boys can eat so much food. And I'm like, what's it going to be like when you're a teenager?
Okay, so you've made this process seem so wonderful and glamorous, and you're 40 pounds down, and it's just great on every level. But I want you to just tell us a few hard parts of it.
For sure. I mean, everybody has their good days and bad. I feel like a lot of macro counting is a mental game, where I do feel like self-sabotage can sometimes be a real thing. And that goes along with that all or nothing mentality, where it's like, I know I shouldn't be eating this, but I want to. And so I'm going to. And I'm just going to eat everything I want that's bad the whole day. And we'll start again tomorrow, which the starting again tomorrow is great. But I definitely have days that are better than others, weeks that are better than others, especially. I've noticed it's tied to stress, where the more stressful weeks or the weeks where I don't plan, or if I make a meal and I don't really like it, that's really hard for me too. Because if I'm not excited about the food that I made for the week, I definitely am more tempted to kind of break. So yeah, I mean it's hard, and there are times when I wish that it was easier, that I could just go somewhere and not have to pull up my Fitness Pal, or that I could just eat what I wanted. And I do feel like that will come. I noticed you guys came out with that new plan, and I think I will get to that point where I don't have to log every single macro. But right now, that's just the phase that I'm in. I've got to stick to it because I know that I do not have enough self-control to do it any other way. And I do feel like that will change. But right now, this is what it has to be. And I know that it works, and that's motivating. But I'm just like everybody else. I definitely have hard days, even hard weeks, where I'm very tempted. I will say it is hard for me. Eating out, I've kind of gotten into a groove a little bit, but potlucks, or if we go eat at somebody's house, that's been, I feel like, the most difficult challenge, just because I don't want to be rude and not eat their food, but I don't know what's in it. I don't know how it was made. It's hard for me if they don't make a vegetable side. I've had to just have something and then try to guess later in my Fitness Pal, but it's not all easy for sure. It's a decision that I have to make every single day to stick to my macros and meal prep, because I'm out most of the morning. I like to get my kids out of the house. And so that means that if we're out of the house by 8:39, I've got to get up at 7 to make breakfast, get everybody dressed, and get my snacks packed and their snacks. And on days where I'm tired or I don't feel like doing it, then my macros suffer and I feel it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is reality right there. If you want to get out the door at 8:30, you have to make the sacrifice of getting up at 7 if you want these goals to happen. And I bet you can testify to this too. It feels so hard in the moment where you're like, "Ugh, I just would rather sleep in." But I've chosen the sleep in route many a days. And I never am like, oh, I'm so glad I did that and I ate crap all day. It's always the reverse, where it's hard initially, but you get in a rhythm and it kind of sets the tone for the whole rest of your day. I got up early, I made this happen. The rest of the day went smooth. But as moms of young kids, maybe this will not always be the face for us, but I feel that for you, Brittany, because it is a sacrifice to have to get up early.
For sure. But you're right. I do feel so much better when I stay on track. And I mean, I've gotten to the point where when I do have days where I am off on my macros, it's just not even worth it. And I think about that a lot. Sure, I could eat this cookie at this party, but if I am excited about my creamy at night, it's so easy for me. And that's where it goes back to what I said before about how changing that mentality of dieting as I'm eating good food.
Right. You're not missing out.
Yeah. So.
Well, I love that too. And you're in this laser focused, I am chasing this goal. You've got momentum on your side and you're just crushing it. And I love that you're just so confident in what you're doing. You know that it works. Yes, it takes the extra effort, but your body's responding so well and you're eating good food. And sounds like the benefits for sure outweigh the challenges and the work. So
for sure. Well, and that's where I think the other question you would ask was like NSVs. And it's true. I feel like I just have so much more energy, and the confidence is huge too. I feel so much more confident now than I did 6 months ago. Holy cow. It's night and day. So
that is so awesome. Any words of wisdom for women that might be listening that are just thinking about dipping their toe in this macro counting world?
Yeah, trust the process 100%. Just keep doing it. I said that to Emily many, many times, where I was like, the scale didn't move that much this week, but I just need to trust that changes are happening and will continue to happen. There were weeks where I was like, Emily, why am I not losing weight? And then 2 days later, I would drop a pound. So I just feel like trusting the process, and then also just make food that you're excited about. That's what's going to help you to stay consistent. I love the monthly macro meals. Seriously, you have no idea how grateful I am for those, because I get so excited every month that I get new recipes, and I love to cook. And so that's why it's been really good for me. I'm not the kind of person where I'm just going to make a recipe every month in a rotation. I want new recipes. I want to try new foods and making food that I'm excited about. I have my nightly creamies that I love, and then just the meals I'm excited to eat. I look forward to the meals, and so it's easier for me to say no to things. But just stick with it, trust the process, and find joy, which that's the theme of this. Join the journey 100%, because life isn't all about how much you weigh or what you look like. It's really not. Finding joy, but I'm so grateful to be in this place where I feel like I can keep up with my kids. We can go on hikes. I can carry my 30-pound child on my back and not feel like I'm going to die. The scale is there, and it does hold importance to me, but for the most part, how I feel, that's more important. And I know that the healthier I am, the more I'll be able to be there for my kids alongside them, doing what they want to do and being able to join them and not have to just sit on the sidelines. Hopefully that was helpful.
So inspired listening to you, Brittney. This is just a breath of fresh air. I think your motivations are in the right place, and it's just a privilege. Emily's going to be so jealous when she listens, because this is a coach's dream to be able to sit and it's like we're at a coffee shop just chatting. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on and inspiring us all. Did you look over any of those podcast segment questions by chance?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's go
I
through
get
them.
really excited about the what's cooking one. This
Okay,
last
so-
month, I made the pizza mac and the taco stuffed shells. And oh my gosh, those are both to die for. So good.
I made those stuffed shells for Cinco de Mayo, and they were a huge hit.
Oh,
And I
so
even
good.
thought about those shells. I was like, oh, this would be a great take the meal to somebody.
Oh, for sure.
It was not that hard to make,
No.
super easy, and it was a winner
Mhm.
in our house too.
Oh yeah, that one was so good. The hot mess moment is just my kids are kind of in that, you did this route. You threw away this paper that I crumpled up and threw in the corner of my room, and I'm so upset about it. So lots of hot mess moments. I also was late to pick up my kids yesterday because my youngest didn't nap, and we're kind of navigating that as well, where it's like, are you napping? Are we dropping this nap? What's happening? And then just the tiny joys, just seeing the world through my kids' eyes. Home Depot does this free craft every month.
Yeah.
And this past month, it was bird feeders. And of course, there is not a bird to be seen in my backyard, but all the squirrels are being fed very wonderfully. And my kids love looking at the squirrels in the backyard eating our bird feeder. And then the last time I spent more than 100 was last month. I treated myself to a date night. My husband watched the kids, and I went and got a pedicure and some Thai food. So
Fun. I love this. You treated yourself to a date night. I've never done that before, but I love it.
Do it. It's very fun. And oh my goodness, those massage chairs are top notch.
Well, awesome, Brittney. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know that you had to orchestrate some things so you could be here, but this was a joy. Thank you.
You know, I was nervous, but I'm so excited because I really am so grateful to you and Krista and Emily in this program that you've put together. And it's been so life-changing. And so thank you for all that you do.
You're so welcome. We hope that you enjoyed the show. It's always so inspiring to have clients on here, and we'll catch you next time.
We appreciate you tuning in to the Stay Fit Mom podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Connect with us on social media and head to stayfitmom.com for more resources and tips. You've got this. See you next time.